In the last episode, we saw Naruto join Team 7 after they passed due to feeding him some of their meal, a choice of the viewers. After joining Team 7, they were sent to the Land of Waves on a mission to escort Tazuna there after he requested a Genin Team. And even though he lied about the difficulty of the mission, Kakashi allowed them to take it anyway. They came across Zabuza and Haku, who, after defeating them once, had to face them a second time. This time though, Sasuke was mortally wounded and Naruto lashed out. This is where the viewers were presented with another choice. Well, we've tallied the votes and the results are in. The choice made was Option 3. Zabuza dies, but Haku survives. You've all been waiting for it, and now it's here. The third part of our viewer-driven story. Welcome to the Amagi. Before we begin, only 25% of our viewers are subscribed, so if you're a fan of the video, please like and double check if you are subscribed. And with that out of the way, let's get into the video. With a punch to the face from an angry Naruto, Haku flies back. Hitting the ground, he skids along its surface. Naruto approaches Haku to finish him off, but as he does, Haku's mask splits in half and falls to the ground. Naruto, startled by the sight of the boy he met only earlier, snaps out of his rage-filled advance and causes him to draw back. Haku, what are you doing here? Haku rolls back and lands on his feet. I'm doing my job, Naruto. Why did you have to kill Sasuke, he asks. You two left me with no choice. I wasn't even aiming to kill him or you. I was going to pacify you both, but he jumped in the way. Naruto grit his teeth. But why did you have to choose to serve the man who's enslaved this village? Shinobi are supposed to help people. Haku shook his head. You're so naive, Naruto. That's not how the shinobi world works. Sometimes people choose the wrong sides and try to hurt the innocent, even the people you love most. Naruto listened to this and felt as though his heart was breaking. You know this, don't you? Naruto asked. Haku's eyes betrayed him. He swallowed but did not speak. It was at about that time that Haku heard Kakashi preparing to finish Zabuza off. He turned around and saw Zabuza in a tough spot. Fear filled Haku's heart, not just of the danger Kakashi presented, but of the idea that he would be abandoned again. He rushed forward toward Zabuza. As he did, he saw in his mind's eye his mother being killed by his father. In that moment, he was but a child again, and just like he had then, his foot slid across the ground, catching a raised crack in the bridge that their epic battle had caused. Losing balance, he tripped and fell to the ground. Skidding on the cement, he let out a bit of a cry as his hands caught concrete, drawing blood. It hurt, but despite that, he didn't care. He tried to get back to his feet and rush to his master's aid, but that trip had completely ruined his momentum, and he was too late. Zabuza was caught on the end of Kakashi's chidori. The sight shook Haku. He understood it quickly. This was the second time he had witnessed something like this. Tears began to roll down his cheeks. As Kakashi pulled his hand out of Zabuza's chest, the man fell over. Haku ran to his side. Zabuza took Haku's hand and gurgled, coughing, gasping, drowning on his own blood. He didn't have the privilege of last words. Haku saw the spirit leave Zabuza's body. Naruto, from the distance, saw this, looking behind at Sasuke being cradled in the arms of Sakura as she screamed and cried. Naruto finally understood the truth of this world. This was the shinobi world. This was its darkness. Greed, power, war, anything that could set two warriors against each other would inevitably lead to loss, to death, bloodshed on both sides. Hearts would be rent open, and lives would be forever changed by the things that happened here. As Haku held his master's hand, his emotions began to spiral into panic. Panic at being alone. All confidence left his body. He had no orders, nobody to please, nobody who cared about him. Haku wanted to die. The bitter cold began to overshadow him. The darkness and frigid heart of this world began to encircle him. Haku let out a cry so loud that it shook the heavens. Suddenly, a fierce wind began to blow. A cold chill entered the air. Death surrounds, his heartbeat slowing down. He couldn't take this world's abuse, not any longer. It was then that above them, in the sky, clouds began to form. Below them, the water started to freeze, crystalline structures slowly creeping up the struts of the bridge that had yet to be completed. Kakashi drew a bit closer, his heart remembering its humanity. His conscience had grown dull over so many years of killing, but to see the tears of someone who couldn't have been more than 2 or so years older than Naruto and Sasuke on the ground having lost complete composure, Kakashi's heart screamed for him to act in consolation. He approached. Hey, Haku's head snapped in Kakashi's direction. Haku let out a cry of anger and sorrow that formed a massive ice spike that got very close to Kakashi. Kakashi barely dodged. Haku turned back and looked at Zabuza's body as the snow began to fall. His emotions continued to build up. Screaming into the heavens, dozens of icy spires rose from the bridge, through the bridge, from the water. The temperature lowered as the wind began to blow. A sudden blizzard overtook them, threatening to turn the village into a frozen wasteland. Moving back to his team, Kakashi got his footing. Pulling a kunai, he considered his options. "Stay here, Naruto. I need to put an end to this before he hurts someone." Naruto shouted "No" at Kakashi. "I'll deal with this." Naruto ran into the center of the slowly expanding storm. Kakashi reached out to stop Naruto, but the boy slipped from his grasp. Naruto ran through the snow into the gray, lost in the falling flakes. He kept moving forward. As he battled the wind, he heard ice expanding, pushing up through the bridge as the whole structure shook. He heard a sound. He couldn't tell if it was the wind or Haku, but he distinctly heard howls. As he moved forward, his feet hit ice and he began to slide back. But he surmised that he could stop himself with chakra. After all, if one can walk across water with chakra, one should be able to do the same with ice. After all, ice was just frozen water. Testing his theory, he kept moving forward. As he got through, he found a wall of ice formed from more spires. He squeezed through into the wall just as it closed up. Protected from the direct wind, Naruto could now feel just how cold he was. Looking at Haku, he heard him crying, his body shaking and trembling. Naruto stepped forward. Despite how cold he was, he slowly removed his jacket and put it over Haku's shoulders to protect him from the cold. Haku was surprised. It was then that he saw arms coming around his shoulders in an embrace. "What are you doing?" Haku said in confusion. "I killed your friend. How can you hug me?" Naruto looked at Haku with the most serious yet compassionate look he could muster. "Because I don't want to kill you anymore." Haku turned around to face Naruto to see that the boy's face was covered in frozen tears. Haku broke down again and fell into Naruto's arms. Naruto, as cold as he was, knew that Haku's heart must be even colder. So with what little body heat he had left, he shared it. Patting Haku's head, he told him it would be okay. Slowly, the wind and snow began to die down. As they did, Kakashi approached the ice structure. Using fire style, he managed to melt through and get into it, where he saw Naruto and Haku in an embrace. Naruto looked back. "We can't leave him here," he said. Kakashi nodded. "We'll take him with us." As it turns out, Sasuke wasn't actually dead, just playing possum. The team looked after Haku while the bridge was built. After the bridge was completed, they brought Haku back with them to Konoha and informed the Hokage. After a personal proposal from Kakashi, Hiruzen allowed Haku leniency, as well as a special opportunity to even become an official shinobi for Konoha. Kakashi wanted to tell Haku, but at the same time, Haku didn't really want to see him. So the task was entrusted to Naruto. Naruto walked up to the apartment building where Haku was being kept. He knocked on the door. "It's open," came a voice from inside. Naruto walked in and saw Haku sitting there, curled up into a ball sitting on his bed, face hidden in his knees. Naruto felt even worse now. He walked in and sat down next to him. "Are you okay?" Naruto asked. Haku didn't respond. "Zabuza isn't gone from you, Haku. He's still with you." Haku turned over and fell on his side to look away from Naruto. Naruto knew he wasn't any good at this. He sucked at talking about this kind of stuff with people, or so he felt, but he knew he had to. Haku was in misery, and he needed to help him to know that everything would be okay. Naruto would then speak. "How did you and Zabuza meet, anyway? Was he your father?" "He was the closest thing I had to one, even if we weren't really related." "You weren't related to him?" Naruto asked. Haku shook his head. "How did you meet then? Did it have anything to do with what you told me on the bridge? About betrayal?" Haku was silent. Naruto sighed. "I won't make you tell me, Haku. If you don't want to talk about it, I'll just leave you alone." Naruto stood and got ready to leave when all of a sudden Haku spoke. "I was born in the land of water. The land of water is not a very nice place." Naruto returned to the bed and sat down. "How so?" he asked. "It's violent," Haku said as he almost seemed to fall into memories. "My village was one that was once covered in snow. War raged in the land of water, and during the course of that war, many people died. Shinobi were called up, and those with any Kekkei Genkai were used as weapons of mass destruction against other villages. During the course of this, many people grew to resent those who had Kekkei Genkai. My mother was one such woman who possessed a Kekkei Genkai. Hers was ice release, and she passed it on to me. My father was a man with no special powers. He hated Kekkei Genkai, so I never mentioned it. I assume his own family had been killed by shinobi using those unique abilities, but I never knew for certain why. Just that he did. Well, my mother, having possessed a Kekkei Genkai, hid it. She denied herself entirely. To her, she treated it as if she didn't have one at all. The reason being that she loved my father and knew that if he knew she had special abilities, he would hate her. So she kept it from him. The two married and were happy together, but a little time later, I was born. From a young age, I was always gifted in chakra and in the control of ice release. I liked to play with it, to learn new ways of doing it. I still remember that day. I raced inside to get my mom. I brought her outside and showed her. I froze water right in front of her. I thought she'd be proud of me, but instead of being happy, she slapped me. She slapped you, Naruto repeated. Haku nodded. She slapped me. She scolded me and told me to never display that ability to anyone, ever. Never to anyone, including my father. I don't resent my mother for slapping me though. She comforted me as soon as she had, apologizing. And though I didn't understand it then, I do now. She was scared, terrified, afraid of what my father might do if he found out. But the thing was, he already knew. He saw me do it from a distance. Without talking to us about anything, he went and told the other villagers. He gathered a mob and brought them to our house in the middle of the night, raiding our home. He killed my mother right in front of me and then attempted to kill me. I don't really remember what happened exactly. I just know that I was hurt. Not physically, but in ways that make even bodily pain pale in comparison. All I could ask was why, as I saw the crying face of my father getting ready to strangle me. I thought I was loved. I thought he said he'd do anything for me, and now he was just gonna kill me. I don't know why I did it, and some days I had wished I had just let him kill me. Maybe it was instinct. Maybe I had slowly begun to hate my father. Whatever it was, I defended myself with lethal force. Everyone in my house that night was killed. I summoned ice and slaughtered them all. I was only a child. Imagine that on your shoulders, knowing you killed not only your father, but everyone else in your home. It destroyed me. I left my home and ran away. I ran to the streets of the nearest settlement that wasn't the village I had come from. There I proceeded to fight for scraps. It was always so cold. Some probably think that because I possess the ice release Kekkei Genkai that I'm immune to the cold, or that I love it. I wasn't. I didn't. I hated the cold because the cold was what made me different. It's what made my father hate me. It's what made my mother die. The bitter cold was the monster inside of me that I wanted to go away. It was the name I gave myself. I survived off of trash, fighting off dogs in the streets. It was horrible. Once I was so hungry that I cornered an old cat and froze it solid. I tried my best to eat it, but it was so horrible. The meat was frozen solid. Why didn't anyone help you? Naruto asked. Haku scoffed. You expect help? From people in the bloody mist. No, they weren't going to help me. If anything, I'm lucky they didn't kill me back then. Didn't stop me from asking for help. Even I knew they might kill me, but I didn't care. I was in agony, in heart, in spirit, in the flesh. Everything hurt. Food or death. Either I would have accepted from them. I got neither. I recall being so weak that my jaws were sunken in. My ribs were visible. I could hardly walk anymore. That's when he appeared. Zabuza? Naruto asked. Haku nodded. Zabuza. He looked at me with a stern look. And though I couldn't walk anymore, he decided to take me with him. He carried me out. He sat me down by his camp and began to give me the lion's share of the food he had procured for himself. He brought me back to health. He provided me new clothes, and he gave me something nobody else would even dare offer. Attention. The basic of all basics. I once asked him why he took me in, and he said it was to be a weapon. I asked him how he knew I'd be a good weapon, and he said it was because I had the same eyes as him. The funny thing is, every time I looked into his eyes, I didn't see darkness. I saw compassion, care, love. They called him the demon of the mist, but I didn't see him that way. I saw a man who hated needless killing and only participated in it because it's all he knew how to do. It's all I knew how to do, too. So I fashioned myself into the deadliest killer of them all. If we were both going to be killers either way, we might as well be the best. You see, my real father showered me with affection and gifts, but when he discovered something he didn't like about me, he threw me away. Zabuza, though he was always rude to me and never once admitted that he cared at all about me, when the going got tough, he never abandoned me. He was everything to me. And when he was killed, I lost that world. I hate Kakashi with a passion, and I want him to die. Kakashi doesn't hate you, and he wants to help get you on your feet here. Haku shook his head. Doesn't mean anything from the man who killed my only companion. I'd rather he killed me. Naruto sat there. You know, I'm not cared for either. Not in this village. Like you, I'm an orphan. And because I have the nine-tailed demon fox in me, the villagers here hate me with a deep and burning passion. When I was low, though, Kakashi pulled me in. He taught me that true friends never leave anyone behind, and he took me in when nobody else would. To be honest, the way you view Zabuza is the same way I view Kakashi. I love him because he was one of the few people to put aside what I was and realize that I was just a child who needed to be loved. He did everything he could to protect me. And honestly, I feel like he only did what he did to Zabuza because he feared Zabuza might kill someone. Kakashi's a good man. I'm sorry your view of him was tainted by a bad introduction. But even if you hate him, he still cares about you and wants to meet with you. He says he has a proposition for you. He wants you to join Konoha as an official shinobi. I know you're in pain, Haku, but remember that I've been where you are. It does get better, and if you need help, I'll gladly be your friend." Naruto then left. As he did, Haku looked down as he thought about what Naruto had said. In his hand, he held a senbon. He wanted to kill Kakashi so badly right now, but what Naruto had said really stuck with him. What could he do? Option 1, Haku still tries to kill Kakashi. Option 2, Haku decides to become a Konoha shinobi. Option 3, Haku decides to go his own way. These are the options you have to choose from. I'm excited to see what you guys will choose. Each of these could change the story in a big way moving forward, but it depends heavily upon which path we take. It's not enough that Haku survives, it's time for us to decide what to do with him. That I'll put into your side of the court. And trust me, each of these options will affect the story moving forward quite a bit, and will eventually play into the overarching plot in some way. What do you think we should do? The choice is yours. Leave a comment below and tell us what you think should happen. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos as they drop, including the next part of this wonderful series after the votes come in. Anyway, until next time, peace out.